Alright, welcome back to the Wrestling Rant. Raw happened last night, and it's time to go over it. So, this was April 22nd, Raw. This was in London, so British crowd was really riled up and everything. And, it's been revealed that the crowd from the night after WrestleMania was a lot of British people. So the crowd tonight was very similar to that night. So yeah. Just gonna go ahead and get right back in. The show starts off with Paul Heyman coming out and starting a promo talking about Triple H. You know, they issued the challenge, him and Brock did. They issued the challenge to Triple H last week to a steel cage match. And Heyman came out to basically say that he had gotten an email on his phone from Triple H that said he wouldn't show up until next week. Yeah. This turns out to be bullshit as Triple H comes out anyways. He comes out and he says that, yeah, I did send that email, but I lied. And he proceeds to tell Heyman that he accepts the challenge, they'll have their cage match, and then he pedigrees Heyman for no frickin' reason. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, moving on, the first match of the night, we have R-Truth coming out, and curiously, he comes out rapping to his music like he used to do a while ago. But it's been a while since he's done it because he went heel, and they changed his music, and the whole crap with Lil Jimmy and all this other dumb shit. He hasn't done this in a while, though, and I was just wondering why he would have done it. But, whatever. So he comes out, and then Antonio Cesaro comes out. And I'm dreading this because I heard a rumor, you could say, or maybe it was an official report, I'm not really sure. But apparently Vince McMahon has soured on Cesaro. And the whole yodeling gimmick that he's been doing lately was given to him to mock him. And that's why he lost the title to Kofi Kingston, the US title. And interesting little factoid, this week's episode of NXT, which I believe is being shot tonight, it's Tuesday, tonight's episode of NXT, Cesaro will be defending the US title, even though he doesn't even hold the title, but he's supposed to be defending the title on NXT. This is really weird. And that's not the only main roster title being defended on NXT tonight. There's also supposed to be a Divas title match between AJ and Caitlyn, and that comes up a little later in Raw. I don't think this is actually going to be how they're going to play it off, but yeah. Also on NXT tonight, they're supposed to have an Intercontinental title match between, I think it's Wade Barrett and Bo Dallas. Yeah. I might end up having to get to that sometime later if I happen to see this episode of NXT. I'm not sure if I will. But anyways, Truth and Cesaro are fighting. And it's not really a bad match, but it's pretty short, and Truth wins. I'm pretty sure he's already beaten Cesaro once. So, really shouldn't be much of a surprise that Truth wins again. They're basically burying Cesaro at this point. But anyways, Truth wins, and they move on. The next thing we see is, this is outside somewhere. They're in London, like I said, so somewhere, I'm guessing it's at an airport, the airport in London somewhere. But we see a helicopter come down and start landing. And it lands, the door slides open, and out pops the 3 members of the Shield. Yeah, so they get this badass entrance like... But right, so they get this badass entrance to the arena, at least. They get off the helicopter, and then they go into... they jump into a Land Rover. Because, of course, they're in Britain. They have to be all British. And yeah, the stage for the show... Every time they go to London or the UK, they always have the stage set up with the British flags, and they have one of the ugly-ass... black taxi cab cars that they have over there, and they usually like to put one of the double-decker buses up. I don't know why, but they did, so fuck it. Right, so the Shield arrives in the chopper. Next segment, tons of lard, or tons of funk, however you want to think about it. They come out with the Funk-a-Whores. But apparently only Brodus is wrestling. Out comes Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes. But again, apparently only Sandow is wrestling. So this is Brodus versus Sandow. Match wasn't all that long. Sandow wins with a quick roll-up. And he pulls the tights to cinch it and make sure he wins. Yeah, so not a very good match. Not a very long match, and who the fuck cares? So, we go backstage. Dolph Ziggler's sitting in a chair, saying sweet nothings, essentially, to something that's off screen. We can't really see it. It's revealed to be the World Heavyweight Championship belt hung from a ladder. It's slung over one of the rungs on the ladder, and he's talking to it. He's like saying, I love you, I can't, all this bullshit. Anyways, AJ jumps in, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, whatever. But Ziggler and AJ start to make out, and then Ziggler kind of stops and looks over his shoulder. Big E's just standing over there, not really watching like a creep or anything, but he is kind of like, just kind of hanging there. And Ziggler looks at him and says, yo man, this is me and AJ time, you need to stop creeping. So Big E just kind of walks away. And then, Ziggler and AJ go back to making out, and then Vicky Guerrero comes out of nowhere with her shrill goddamn voice. Total cock block, by the way. She comes up and says that, Ziggler, you have a match tonight with Chris Jericho. And if Jericho wins, he will be entered into the... He will be added to what is already a triple threat match for the world title, and it'll now be a fatal 4-way. That's if Jericho wins. So basically saying, Ziggler, you have to win, or you're going to have even less of a chance of keeping your title. So, right. She says that, blah, blah, blah. And then I think we come back from a commercial and we get a recap from last week where Punk basically just kind of walked out. So they recap that. After that, the three members of the Shield, they're up on the Titantron. We get another promo from them. They've been doing these promos a lot where there's just a camera lying on the floor somewhere backstage, and the three guys in the Shield, they come up and they pick up the camera and they just start cutting a promo. And they do. And essentially they say, you know, we took or we went to great expense, whatever, to be here in London tonight, the whole helicopter thing. And they wanted to be here because they have this big 6-man match with The Undertaker. And they want to make sure that The Undertaker tastes justice. So, yeah. Yeah, so they're cutting the promo and that goes. The next thing that happens is the match with Jericho and Ziggler. And the match was actually pretty good. It was going fairly normally. Big E interfered once or twice, clocking Jericho. And Ziggler couldn't beat him. But it gets to a point where Jericho has Ziggler in the walls of Jericho. And while this is going on, Fandango's music starts playing. And this distracts Jericho enough that Ziggler is able to get to the ropes and break the hold. Fandango never comes out, by the way. Not at this point, at least. But, so Ziggler is able to break the hold, and then he's able to nail the zigzag and beat Jericho, and thus, you know, keeping it a triple threat match at the pay-per-view, the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So, yeah. Yeah, so that happens. We get another recap of Cena, Ryback, and The Shield, what happened at the end of last week's episode of Raw, where, of course, The Shield attacked Cena, and Ryback did nothing to stop them. We get a recap of that. And then that is basically just a segue. We cut to Mick Foley, who is in attendance. Well, not really in attendance. He's backstage for some reason at this Raw. He's backstage with Josh Matthews. And so promo, basically. Foley's talking about Ryback. Really dumb shit, not really anything interesting. The next thing we get, Tensai or Sweet Tea, whatever you want to call his dumbass, he takes on Cody Rhodes. And so this is basically the other half of the tag match that we could have gotten earlier, but instead we just get fucking singles matches. Really dumb. But anyways, this match wasn't really any better than the other match. Tensai is actually able to win. So we have Sandow wins for Rhodes Scholars, but Tensai is able to win for Tons of Funk. I'm guessing this is leading up to some sort of actual tag team match. Not that we haven't already had one or more. But whatever. Interesting note, the Bellas were nowhere to be found on this episode of Raw. Apparently, according to a report, they are not on the European tour that's going on right now. And during Raw, apparently they were at some party for a E channel thing. Not really sure what that is. But whatever. I know what the E channel is, But whatever. Anyways, the next thing we get is we go backstage in the locker room with Team Hell No. Daniel Bryan's talking to Kane about talking strategy. He's asking Kane, where's the Undertaker at? We need to go over strategy for our match with the Shield. Blah, blah, blah. He's talking, I made diagrams. I came up with a brilliant strategy to take on the Shield. And he's like, where's the Undertaker? We need to talk to him about this stuff. Can't you contact him? And Kane's like, Undertaker's not really the kind of guy to carry a cell phone. It's 2013. Who the hell doesn't have a fucking cell phone? I know Taker's supposed to be this otherworldly whatever, but he's got a cell phone. Don't bullshit, okay? But whatever. They're talking, and then out of nowhere the cameraman gets knocked the hell down, and Bryan and Kane get knocked the hell down, and all you see is the camera. Well, you can see from the camera's point of view, and you can see a combat boot walk by the view from the camera. So this obviously means that the Shield just attacked Daniel Bryan and Kane. Whatever. Next, we have Josh Matthews backstage again, this time interviewing Ryback. Short promo, Ryback's talking about Foley, whatever. Apparently this is leading up to a big thing between Foley and Ryback later on tonight. Blah, blah, blah. The next thing up, Big E Langston comes out to his own music, but not the same music he's been using on NXT, and this new music sounds like crap. He comes out, and then Zack Ryder comes out. So this is an obvious squash match. Ryder comes out, by the way, no headband, no spiked hair, no sunglasses, no stupid camera phone taking video for his dumb little show. Apparently, he had made another episode of his show, even though it supposedly ended. But apparently he had made another episode of his show to basically say he's done with that gimmick or something. I don't know. He also tweeted and said that he was leaving behind the headband and the spiked hair and the sun, all that dumb shit. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Punchline of this is Big E squashes the hell out of Ryder. Beats him pretty quick. It's a squash match. Oh yeah, Ryder was sporting a different haircut, and he looked like Jack Swagger. Because the haircut was similar. Whatever. After that, Undertaker comes out by himself. And then the Shield comes out together. No Team Hell No. Shield comes out and they start ganging up on Taker, trying to beat him up. But, it looks bad for Taker, but all of a sudden, the stage blows up with Kane's pyro once again, and Team Hell No comes running down to make the save. So here's the match we've been waiting for. And so the big 6-man tag match starts. Actually goes for quite a while. And fairly good match. Despite what I had originally thought, Undertaker actually did do something in this match. He was the legal man twice, I think. And he actually stayed in for a little bit. Doesn't really matter because, let's see, I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. Taker was getting ready to chokeslam both Ambrose and Rollins, and then Reigns comes out of nowhere and spears the shit out of Taker. That's not the finish, though. That was just one of the big spots. I think the way it ended was... I think the way it ended was you had Ambrose was the legal man, and then okay, now I'm starting to remember. Ambrose was the legal man. Everybody else was outside the ring fighting. Ambrose was legal. He was down on the mat because him and Daniel Bryan was up on the top rope, getting ready to come down for his big Chris Benoit headbutt. And Ambrose crotched him on the top rope, and then went to give him a superplex, but Bryan countered with a headbutt, knocked Ambrose down. So Ambrose is laying in the ring, and he's in position for Bryan to give him the headbutt. Bryan jumps off the top rope and crashes and burns because Ambrose gets the hell out of the way. And Ambrose basically small packages him. Not really small packages him, but just hooks both legs and cinches it in tight. Bryan can't get out of it. So Ambrose pins Bryan, and that's the finish. So again, the Shield wins. They get the hell out of there. And the next segment we get is Foley backstage again, this time with John Cena. They're talking for a bit, blah, blah, blah. Cena gives Foley a chair to protect himself with, basically. Blah, blah, blah. We come back. I think we came back from a commercial, and Fandango comes out with Summer Rae from NXT as his dancer chick this time. I recognized her immediately. It's not hard to miss a dopey-looking blonde with, whatever. But anyways. So he comes out. The crowd, of course, singing his music. They had done that a couple of times during the night. And I don't even think this would be the last time they did. So... But yeah. His opponent then comes out, and it's William Regal, the essentially hometown favorite. And of course he gets an ovation and everything, and doesn't matter. Johnny ends up getting the win. He actually used his actual finisher, the Knocks Out, or whatever it was called. I think he actually calls it... a bid farewell. That's what he was calling it in NXT and stuff like that. So he hits that on Regal and gets the win. And even though the crowd kind of boos because, they just beat Regal, their hometown guy, they still end up singing along to Fandango's music again, yada yada. Johnny goes up onto the stage with his dancer, with Summer, and Jericho comes out, attacks Johnny from behind, and throws him off the stage. And then Jericho looks over at Summer and basically holds his hand out to her. She starts dancing with him. He spins her around a couple of times, and so I'm like, okay. I don't really see the point to this. But whatever. The next thing we have is a 5-diva battle royal for the number one contendership to Kaitlyn's title. And Kaitlyn is on commentary during this. The 5 participants are Naomi, Tamina, Oksana, Layla, and AJ. This was pretty short, really bad. The only thing good about it was the outcome. And I'll get to that. Early in the match, Tamina looks over at AJ. And AJ, big smile, jumps into Tamina's arms like she's going to kiss her like she did to Kane a while ago. Tamina throws her off and then super kicks her right in the face. And, I mean, it looks like she ate the fuck out of this super kick. AJ's out after this. She's out cold. Just laid out in the ring. But over the course of the next minute or two, Naomi, Tamina, and Oksana are all eliminated. And Layla's the only one left besides AJ. Layla thinks she wins, but then she turns around and goes, oh, AJ's still in the ring. So she starts trying to drag AJ over to the ropes to eliminate her. Just as she's about to, AJ snaps out of it, reverses, throws Layla's ass out of the ring, and AJ wins. And like I said, they're supposed to have a Divas title match on NXT, but I don't think this is actually the one that AJ wins by winning this Battle Royal. Apparently this is going to happen at the pay-per-view or something, I'm not sure. Whatever. After that, we get treated, again doing air quotes, we get treated to a commercial for the new WWE Films movie, which is called No One Lives, and Brodus Clay is in it. Another crappy movie that the WWE's trying to get out there with another one of their wrestlers who can't friggin' act. And Brodus is playing one of the bad guys in this movie from the looks of it. So, doesn't really make much sense. Anyways, moving right along. I think we come back from a commercial break, and Foley's in the ring. He's talking about Ryback. He calls Ryback out. Ryback comes out. He starts talking to him, and then Ryback tells Foley to shut up. And then he starts tearing Foley to shreds, verbally, of course, not attacking him at all, because Foley's holding his chair. He's got his chair, so whatever. But then it comes back to, it finally starts to look like there's going to be some violence, and then out comes Cena to make the save. So, Foley gets the hell out of there. So Cena and Ryback are in the ring staring each other down, and then the Shield comes out again. Just like last week. Cena kind of gets out of the ring and he's standing on the apron. Ryback's left in the middle of the ring by himself. Shield jumps in the ring, starts beating on Ryback, and Cena starts looking like he's going to leave. And so the Shield's beating down Ryback, but then all of a sudden back comes Cena with the chair from earlier, and he fights off the Shield. They bail. This leaves Cena and Ryback together in the ring, Cena holding the chair. They're staring each other down. Cena drops the chair. Ryback kind of looks down at it, and as he's doing that, Cena out of nowhere gets him up on his shoulders, hits the attitude adjustment, slams him down hard with it. So, completely unprovoked, Cena attacks Ryback. And then he gets the hell out of there, kind of celebrates on the stage. Ryback is kind of getting up, but not really. And that's how the show goes off the air. So that was pretty much it for Raw. Not really all that good. Although we do finally have AJ and Caitlyn set up for the Divas title. Jericho at least got a win over... Or not Jericho. Ziggler got a win over Jericho. Yeah, so... that was pretty much it for Raw. It wasn't really all that good. Obviously nowhere near as good as the one from the night after WrestleMania. I don't really think any Raw anytime soon is going to come close to that. So, might as well forget about it. But yeah, that was Raw. Really wasn't all that great. Had a couple of decent matches, I guess, but nothing really all that great. Like I said, the 6-man match with The Shield and Taker was actually fairly good. The match between Jericho and Ziggler was good, but then again, both of them can work, so of course. Didn't see Swagger or Del Rio at all on this show, but of course they were mentioned. So, don't really know anything else to say about this. I don't know, with the segment they had with Big E creeping and Ziggler telling him to basically piss off, seems like Big E may end up turning face on Ziggler, possibly. Don't really know about that, but we will have to see. Don't really know. Nothing really all that great to note about the matches. Watching Ryder get his ass kicked again is always nice, so there's that, I guess. Fandango and Regal was actually a fairly decent match, of course. Again, both of them can work, so of course. Yep, that's pretty much it for Raw. Wasn't really all that great. That's it, basically, so... yeah. So, anyways, matches that they have announced for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. We have, of course, the triple threat for the world title, Ziggler, Del Rio, and Swagger. And we have, of course, Triple H accepted the cage match with Brock, so we're going to have Triple H and Brock in a steel cage. AJ and Caitlyn for the Divas title is supposed to happen. That'll probably be the only match that isn't some sort of Extreme Rules, whatever the fuck. And apparently they're leading up to something between Rhodes Scholars and Tons of Funk. Don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. Don't really care either. Fandango and Jericho are probably going to have another match. Not really sure about that one, though. Haven't really seen much involved with the Intercontinental title. They're probably saving that stuff for SmackDown. Not that I really care. But yeah, those seem to be the matches announced for Extreme Rules. I think it's about 4 weeks away. So... yeah. But yeah, so that's what's been announced for the pay-per-view, and they've got like another 4 weeks of build for it, so... I think what happened is the WWE decided to cut a couple of pay-per-views from their schedule, so they're not doing one every month now. And TNA did this same thing several months ago. They announced that they were only going to be doing like 6, I think, pay-per-views a year. which was to give more time for the build. And this is actually a good idea because a lot of the pay-per-views kind of suck because they don't have enough time to build stuff properly and give it a good storyline. So apparently the WWE saw this and thought, yeah, that's probably a good idea too. I don't think they got rid of as many pay-per-views, but they did get rid of a couple, which is good. But yeah, that will do it for this episode of the Wrestling Rant. Raw from April 22nd, 2013 in London. We will see you next time for SmackDown.